Abanawa, Shabashamayim, Kwadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazar, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Lathanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalachnawa, Khawbwathnawa, Kasalachnawa, Khawbwathinawa, Wala'a, Tabia Anawa, Manasaya 1, Abal, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'atapa Arath, La'ai Walamyam, Aman. Ya Baraka, Ya Baraka, Yahweh, Yahweh, Wayashamaka, Wayashamaka, Yahweh, 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 Hanyawa al Yak, Hanyawa al Yak, Wayachanka, Wayachanka, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yasha'a Yahweh, Yasha'a Yahweh, Hanyawa al Yak, Hanyawa al Yak, Wayasham, Wayasham, Laka Shalom, Laka Shalom, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah, Barak Rapah, Barak Rapah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah, Barak Rapah, Barak Rapah, Yasha Allah, Yasha Allah.
That an Israelite made it. The suckers gon' talk, the cowards gon' hate it. No matter what they say, I'ma go get it done. There's really no choice if you from where I'm from. Some people gon' be glad, others gon' be mad. You juicing off the hate and relapse, so you need rehab. I could show you things, all you see is the rings. Don't get blinded by ice, my brother. Pick a lane, learn a skill that'll get you very well paid. Investing in trades like a monopoly game. All you need is your brain and be willing to change. You'll have obstacles in life, but don't look at it strange. Adapt to your environments, get well rounded. In the laws of the Most High, stay well grounded. Things happen and life goes on. Let the haters hate while you stay strong.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status,
Number one.
I gotta do good there the time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it.
Don't be mad, bro.
You gon' be mad at me when I get it done.
I'ma get it done.
Don't be mad.
Do what you need to do, there's a king in you. But if talent don't work, it won't be useful. I remember the times of free school lunch. Whatever we didn't eat, moms took it for our brunch. Pops was working hard, now I know how it feels to have extra. He used to bring us meals on wheels. If you know, you know. Free things was a major help. That's why anytime I get, I always try to help. Those who are in need, who know are sincere. It makes me feel good when they smiling from ear to ear. Let them be mad, I'm bearing my cross. All my failures was a lesson, never counted a loss. Edomites make way, cause they know I'm a boss. Sitting in the Lambo, while they sit in the porch. And they wondering how, so they try to converse. The ones that smile in your face are usually the worst.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status,
Number one.
I gotta do good there the time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it.
Don't be mad, bro.
You gon' be mad at me when I get it done.
I'ma get it done.
Don't be mad.
Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. Shar Shabbat.
Let me change this layout real quick. Shalom, y'all. All praise to the Most High for another Sabbath. All praises. Just want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh by way of His Son Yahweh Shai. Thankful to be here, in front of y'all on your TV screens, your phone screens, wherever you streaming from. Most High willing, today's lesson is edifying, for the people, right? But you can go ahead and add anything because we're gonna go right into it because I got a couple longer videos, right? Really, it's only two videos or whatever, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it all.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. To all the brothers and sisters, happy Sabbath. Glad to be here again. Long week, but great day. That's where it is, where it stands. The Most High Day on Sabbath day, beginning of it to the end is the best day. You know what I'm saying? So I can't never complain. Appreciate prayers. Appreciate sending out more prayers out to others too. So continue to pray. Continue to pray for one another, and let's get this ball rolling.
All praises, y'all. So, as y'all can see, if y'all didn't see the thumbnail beforehand, right? It was just a picture of what the world will call Thanksgiving dinner. All right, had your normal turkey, all that stuff on there, right? So this is not about food, and this is not strictly about Thanksgiving, right? Although it will be mentioned just because, it is literally coming up, right, next week. So a lot of our people could be on the fence about it. You got some Israelites that, ask themselves, hey, should I still deal with my family on this day? Should I, go over there and eat with them? Should I eat and leave? Should I go get a plate? Anything like that, right? So I'm not going to go into, whether you can eat or whether you should or shouldn't eat, right? But what I am going to go to is just the wickedness behind it and how it ties directly into the wickedness in the scriptures and how it even ties into the Molech, right? So first and foremost, we're going to let me share my screen. We're going to start in the book of Psalms. Entire screen. All right, so we're going to start in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, and I want just verse number 7.
All right. Book of Psalms. Hold on. I'm hearing myself. You guys want
Say that again.
You got one of those sound features up. Hear myself.
No. Let me make sure though. Oh no, I just got say echo cancellation is on.
Let me see now. Yeah, I hear myself. Yeah. Let me see on mine.
Yeah, you sound fine to me.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
I hear myself. It's like when I'm talking.
Yeah, that's all. That's what these dang on updates, man.
Yeah. What did it do? Leave it on echo. Right?
Yeah, I left it on there.
Yeah, no matter. You know what? Might be. I'm gonna jump out and in. I seen this.
All right.
So, hey, you know what? Did you text it out earlier? When we started off,
You actually breaking up now.
all right. This is crazy.
Yeah, just leave out and come back in. All right, so while he getting that together, y'all. I wonder.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
All right, let me try. Let me see this. All right, try it now.
All right. I don't hear myself. I'm good.
Okay, so that's I think I'm gonna have to. I know what I'm gonna have to do, because that was the shared screen, and the mic was unmuted for that one. So
Okay.
that might have been why.
All right, I'm about to say, yeah, I don't hear nothing. Now I'm good.
Okay, so when I play the videos, chat, I just want y'all to let me know if y'all can hear when I do play start the video, right? But as of right now, we're just gonna go into the scripture. All right, so go ahead.
All right, All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, Salakia. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 7. Rest in the Lord, wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him whom prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass.
All right, so rest in the Lord, right? And this is what we have to do as Israelites, right? A lot of us are impatient. And when I say a lot of us, I'm including myself, right? Because I want this place to come to an end right now, right? Because I'm tired of being here. I'm tired of having to, deal with our people day in, day out, every Sabbath when we out on the street corners, on highways and byways. And it seems as if nobody's listening, right? So just like anybody else, anybody's going to kind of get tired of it, right? Look at Moses. Moses was pissed off. And look what he did. He, instead of speaking to the rock like he was supposed to, he hit it, right? He hit the rock because it was making him mad, because it's like, man, I just was sitting here talking to y'all. And y'all, as soon as I leave, y'all go off and do something stupid, right? So we got to be patient, right? Don't worry about the person that's prospering right now. Somebody's, celebrating all of these different holidays, and it seems as if God is continuously blessing them, right? It seems that way now, right? But the Most High says, fret not, right? Go ahead.
Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil.
Mm-hmm.
For evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth.
Right. That's what we hoping for, right, Reed?
For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be.
All right, just a little bit longer, y'all. A little bit longer. Right. So I'm not gonna wait too long to get into the videos, right? So before I get into that, right, I want to get the book of Leviticus. The book of Leviticus, chapter 18. All right, so I want you to go verses 1 through 3.
All right, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall you walk in their ordinances.
Neither shall you walk in their ordinances, right? So what's one of the ordinances? Let's jump down to verse 21.
All right. Verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord.
Right. So this is one of the things that was happening, right? And the Valley of Hinnom is where we used to take our children down and offer our children literally as a sacrifice to these other so-called gods or deities, right? So I read that first. That's actually going to be the second video I get into, right? First one is the quote-unquote real history of Thanksgiving, right? So I'm going to slide over here. This video, I'm not going to listen to it, have y'all listen to it all the way through. I'm going to kind of jump back and forth, right? Because he's going to give you some BS, right? I'm going to just tell you off top. He's going to give you some BS. He's going to give you some things that may or may have not happened, right? But ultimately, he's going to tell you that, hey, Thanksgiving is not pagan. That's what he's going to tell you, right? But I'm going to just go ahead. Let me know if y'all can hear. Is the audio good, y'all?
Was he supposed to be talking right away?
They can't hear it. Yeah, he was talking. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to mute my mic and then unmute.
Was that really the first Thanksgiving here in America? Or has the entire story been whitewashed as a national cover-up to something far more sinister? Let's dive into this subject and find out what happens when history meets the truth right after this.
I heard.
So you said
something. They don't hear it.
Still no sound, y'all?
No, they say it's good.
Okay, come. All right.
We doing that echo on that thing.
All right. Is it still an echo? Or are we good, y'all?
Man. Yeah. Echo. I'm gonna mute my.
Mute yours real quick, and y'all just let me know. Is it still an echo now? It might be all right. I just don't want to, because I want to be able to stop it and talk to y'all, so I don't want to mute my mic all the way. Oh, no echo. All right, so, yep, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, Mike Allah. Yeah, you got to stay muted, Mike Allah. If you want to come off and make a point, that's cool. But just let me know, and then I'll mute my mic once you do it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Staley, Passion for Truth Ministries. And if you're new to this channel is all about doing a deep dive into the original language, the original culture, the context, the idiomatic expressions, all the debates on both sides of the coin in the first century and beyond. We want to find out the Christian roots of our faith. We want to interpret the Bible from the original context that it was written in. And all of that goes all the way back to the Hebrew. And that's what we do here. But from time to time, we dive into specific controversial subjects and try to see where history meets the passion for truth, or our passion for truth, I should say. What does the truth actually have to do with how we live our lives as believers? So this channel is really not for non-believers. It's for Christians. It's for those who claim Christ as the Messiah. So, like I said, from time to time, we dive into the topics of Christmas and Easter, the origins of Halloween and St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, and everything in between. We want to discover why we do what we do, because as believers, we do what we believe. And so we need to find out why we believe what we believe. Where did we believe what we believe? In other words, where did it come from? And is it kosher? Does God put his stamp of approval on everything that we're doing? Because actually, when it's all said and done, it's not about us. It's not about how we feel. It's not what this means to us or that means to us. It's about what he thinks. It's about what he feels. And today is no different. This broadcast, we're going to uncover and expose the real truth of Thanksgiving, where it really comes from, and it's not going to be what you think. So no matter what side of the coin you're probably on, you're probably not going to hear what you want to hear, but we are going to talk about the truth. So far as I'm concerned, the truth can only do one thing, and that's what the Bible says: set us free. All right, let's take time to uncover the traditional story of Thanksgiving, and along the way, we'll find out what's true and what's not true and what's absolutely true. So it all starts in September of 1620, where a small ship by the name of the Mayflower departed from Plymouth, England. It carried about 102 passengers from various mixed Puritan, separatist, religious belief backgrounds, all seeking religious freedom from the Mother Church of England. Now, you have to understand the Puritans were a sect that came out of the Church of England. They said, hey, we don't want to conform to the Church of England. We want to have our strict belief systems, and we want to have a country or a land of our own where we could celebrate what we want to celebrate and worship God in the purest of fashions, not along the party lines of the Church of England. So that's a little bit of background of the Puritans, although much more could be said. But as it relates to this story, well, the journey lasted 66 days. It was an extraordinary, difficult, and arduous journey. And they landed, unfortunately, far north of their intended destination of the Hudson River.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
In Cape Cod.
Right, so as we can see, just so far, just to summarize everything, basically, he's saying that, what's the guy named? Christopher Columbus, when they sailed the seas, they was looking for religious freedom. Right, and they came upon the land, apparently, where apparent so-called Native Americans were, right? So that's what we got so far.
It wasn't until a month later that the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, and the settlers began to produce and create what's called the Plymouth Colony. From there, it was wintertime, and it was winter indeed. It was brutal, it was difficult, and it was deadly. Many of the settlers decided to stay on board the Mayflower, while most died of malnutrition, they died of starvation, and they flat out died because it was freezing cold. Well, it was about that time where they were unexpectedly greeted by a member of the Abenaki tribe who spoke English. Now, here's where the gloss over happens. Let's ask the question, why did this member of the Abenaki tribe speak English? Because they had already been there for over 100 years, since 1492, and the English have been coming over many times in peace, sometimes kidnapping Native Americans, taking them back to England as slaves, teaching them English, and then bringing them back to teach them and to help them navigate.
And lesser words than what he used, to use them as a plant, right? To get the other so-called natives to turn on the natives or accept the so-called Europeans. Why? Because they was getting their butts whooped, right? Just flat out. They was getting their butts whooped. That's why those type of things will happen, right? But let's keep going.
The New World. So there was a bittersweet relationship already happening for well over 100 years before the Puritans even showed up. That is not really talked about in American history, but that's going to come in really, really handy and very important as we move forward. So after a successful corn harvest in November of 1621, Governor William Bradford, who's the governor of the newly budding Plymouth Colony, decides to organize a feast to celebrate the bounty and invited their Native American allies, including Massasoit, the chief of the Wampanoag tribe. This event, which lasted for 3 days, is often remembered as the first Thanksgiving. But was it? And that's what we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes. I'm going to suggest that the Pilgrim event of the Thanksgiving origin is not the origin of Thanksgiving at all in America. It's just part of the story, but the real story is being left out. And another story is taking its place and weaving in and mucking up the whole thing. We're going to discover the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And you can decide.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there because a lot of us know the story. If not, you can definitely go and check out this video. Just rewind it to get the title and name, right? So I want to stop it right here because we know the story of, you know, the Pilgrims coming or whatever. At first, they sat down, they ate together, they did this, they did that, so on and so forth. So all he's finna get ready to say, right? They're saying that that was the first Thanksgiving, right? He is going to go into a history of them literally, murdering the Native Americans, things of that nature, right? But we're not going to go into that whole spiel. All right, we're going to get to what he feels is the real Thanksgiving, right? So let's go. Where are we? Let me see. Oh. About right there.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do what.
Even in America, when we came home from war, we had a parade. Or when a baseball team wins the World Series, there is a World Series parade. It is just natural within human inclination to celebrate victories. And this was
So let me pause that just to catch y'all up to the last part he was talking about. He was just saying whenever we would win a war, we would celebrate, so on and so forth, right? We can find that when we think about the destruction of Nicanor, right? When we think about Feast of Dedication, we can find that. We celebrated, right? When we got out of captivity, Passover, right? We celebrated when our enemies was overcome, right? We had a celebration. We often had a feast, right? So that stuff is truth. So what he's getting ready to talk about, what does that got to do with us, right? Let's keep going.
so different in the American Revolutionary War. So during the American Revolution, the Continental Congress designated occasional days of Thanksgiving. In 1789, President George Washington issued the very first official Thanksgiving proclamation, encouraging the nation to give thanks for the successful conclusion of the Revolutionary War and the ratification of the United States Constitution. Now we come to 1817, where New York became the first state to officially celebrate Thanksgiving, or a day of Thanksgiving. And although there were many other states that followed suit, most of the states in the South did not have this tradition. And this is where things get interesting. In 1827, the author Sarah Josepha Hale, who was the author of the most famous story, Mary Had a Little Lamb, she actually was so impacted by celebrating Thanksgiving each and every year that she, for the next 36 years, wrote.
Let me pause it one more time, y'all. So notice what he said. He says that in the South that they didn't really celebrate Thanksgiving like that, right? And we know how they redlined a lot of these things, right? A lot of the tribes of Reuben would be down in the South, you know, whether it be Oklahoma, Florida, so on and so forth, right? We know that they inhabited that area. So, of course, they want to be celebrated, right? In the northern part, and even in some parts of the eastern, right, you had what we would probably call the Gadites, right? The Wampanoag tribe. I forgot it started with an L. I can't think of it, right? Other different tribes, they would always fight each other for land. And eventually they would be, you know, overtaken, just like any of the other states. They'll be overtaken by the so-called Europeans, right? And then be forced to do their ways, right? But it took them a while to overcome the tribe of Reuben, right? So, of course, they wouldn't be celebrating it right off the rip. Now, let's keep going.
Letters to presidents, congressmen, senators, and politicians, and she tried to get them to nationalize the holiday for the sole purpose of unifying the entire country, because at this point, the North and the South were extraordinarily split. And this brings along how Abraham Lincoln fits into the story. So in 1863, during the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln responded to Hale's plea. After 36 years of writing letters, she finally won her way, and he declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. His proclamation called for a national day of thanksgiving and prayer to help the nation be unified and healed from what just happened in the war. Lincoln set the date for Thanksgiving as the final Thursday in November. Interestingly enough, that's the same date that George Washington, our first president, set. The holiday was observed on the last Thursday of November for almost 80 years, all the way up until Franklin Roosevelt. He decided he was going to move it 1 week earlier in an effort to increase sales to help people get out of the Great Depression. But there was so much opposition to changing what had already become a national holiday and a tradition for families around the country that 2 years later he reversed his position and finally secured it into American history as the last Thursday in November. And that's where it is today. All right, what I want to talk about now is the elephant in the room. Think about the logic. We are told that the first Thanksgiving was 1621 with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans and Squanto and that whole story that we just went over. But the truth is that George Washington instituted the first Thanksgiving as it stands today on the fourth Thursday in November. And the reason he gives has nothing to do with Pilgrims, has nothing to do with Squanto, has nothing to do with Thanksgiving turkeys or Pilgrims at all. It has to do.
If it has nothing to do with it, ask yourself, why is it included in the celebration? Why isn't Thanksgiving more of a Memorial Day type celebration, right? Or a Veterans Day type celebration? Why is that? If it has nothing to do with turkey or anything like that, right? We know, and I'm not saying what the guy's saying right here is 100% false, right? It's truth to it, but it does have something to do with what he said that it doesn't, right? So this is the point of playing this video. So we can tie all of this stuff together, right? Even while they're lying, right? They're going to give you the truth while they're lying, right? They're going to make the truth seem like a lie, right? And vice versa.
With a victory over England in the Revolutionary War and the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States.
If you can't quit the P word, I want to let you know that Scripture tells us that
the War of Independence was his reason for Thanksgiving, and he chose the fourth Thursday in November to do so. So to go back and rewrite history as what the origin is 1621 is to miss the real reason why it became a real national holiday in America. It was not at all because of the Pilgrims. It was because of the War of Independence. That is the earliest that we have of a legal holiday being declared by a president of the United States. And interestingly enough, he never mentions the Pilgrims. And it gets ratified by President Lincoln for the same exact reason. As Americans came out of a civil war, he wanted to unify the North and the South because the North was already pretty much celebrating a Thanksgiving, and he did it for a similar reason that George Washington did, to bring unity to the country. So the truth is, it was the New Englanders and the
truth is, right, that they wanted to mock the so-called Native Americans. That's what the truth is, right? They used us to fight in their wars, promising us freedom, right? Only to turn around when we actually won the war to still held us captives, right? Not set us free, still indentured servants, right? So that's what the truth is.
Early 1900s that changed the origin of Thanksgiving to go all the way back to 1621 in Plymouth. But the reality is, it was George Washington in 1778 that declared a national holiday on the fourth Thursday in November, exactly the way it is today, which is a big giveaway that that's the origin, because they didn't do it on the fourth Thursday in November in 1621. We have no idea. And it was 3 days. Okay. But it was this American president and American presidents after that, like President Lincoln, that enshrined this holiday into what it is today. So although it may be true that some historians still point back to 1620 and 1621 as the very first Thanksgiving with the Wampanoag people and Squanto and the Pilgrims at Plymouth, but the reality is that was a very short peace treaty that lasted for a very short period of time before it all fell apart. And the story they don't tell you is the massacre of the Native Americans as they went to war in the 30s and the 70s called Philip's War, and it decimated the Native Americans of that time period. If we're going to attach the Pilgrims to the original story of Thanksgiving, and that's your version, then we at least need to honor the Native Americans and tell the truth, whether we like the truth or not. Now, I wasn't there. It wasn't me that made those atrocities, but
there you go. That's Esau's favorite line right there, y'all. Hey, it wasn't me that did it. Right? We need to honor it by telling it. Right? That's the only way to honor it. Why not honor him by giving them their damn land back? But they're not gonna do that though. Right? They just gonna continue to mock this thing every year. This is why we're bringing this out, because we want our people to stop partaking in this foolishness. Right? This is a bunch of wickedness that goes on every last Thursday in November, regardless of whether you're around family, whether you're around people from your job, right? Whether you in the own comforts of your own home, right? And you celebrating this day. This is what you're doing, right? You're doing these things unknowingly.
our ancestors did, and that's something that we should not be proud of. So we should at least honor by telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, no matter how it makes us look. But it's my opinion that that's not the original story of Thanksgiving at all. That Thanksgivings were celebrated in every culture, in every continent, in every language, as I mentioned before. And this was in the mind of George Washington. It wasn't the Pilgrims that he had in his mind. It was the fact that they had a military victory and they wanted to give glory to God, unify the country, and have Thanksgiving Day that God gave them victory over their oppressors. And that's what every culture did. And this just so happens to be a coincidence that there was a Thanksgiving during the time of 1621 and a time of Thanksgiving in 1778, because every culture did the same thing. What historians made the mistake of doing, or I should say the New Englanders in the early 1900s, is connecting the two and say this is the origin, forgetting that every culture did this. It was simply a coincidence. Now, here's the next question. Is Thanksgiving pagan? This seems to be a very prevalent idea in modern 21st century, is that Thanksgiving is pagan. Now, we know that Christmas and Easter and Halloween and many of these holidays that Americans celebrate today are in fact pagan in origin, without a doubt. If you doubt that, you can watch December 25th on Trial. It is a very deep academic look at just why we chose December 25th to begin with. You'll be shocked at why we celebrate Christmas and how it got changed from the Festival of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, when Jesus, Yeshua, was really born. As a matter of fact, if you want to find out why they changed it from Sukkot to December 25th, which was the winter solstice, you can watch When Was Jesus Really Born? That will open up your eyes as well and shock you and get you excited about learning more about the Bible. But I digress. Let's finish up this broadcast by talking about whether or not Thanksgiving is actually pagan and should we celebrate it? Because there is a very firm foundation for that belief until you actually look at it deeper. And so let's talk about paganism, period. So paganism simply is a term that means that's outside of the God of the Bible. So outside of Judaism, outside of Christianity, and outside of Islam. Everything else is pagan.
See that? Well, we know what the truth is, right? Islam, that crap is pagan, right? He had it right up until that in Islam part, right? So this is the definition, right? Anything outside of the worship of the Most High God, Yahweh, right? And out of Judaism, which means what? If your ancestors didn't come up with it with days like Feast of Dedication, which we're gonna keep, in a couple more weeks, right? Destruction of Nicanor or Feast of Purim, so on and so forth, right? Those things wouldn't be considered pagan, right? Those things were made up by your own people, right? Your own ancestors, your own rulers, your own judges, your own elders. Those things were created for us to have a remembrance of us actually going through things, right? For us to have a thanksgiving unto our God, right? So that alone proves that Thanksgiving is pagan, but we're going to continue to prove how pagan it is.
And so there are absolute definitions that we as Bible believers have to go by if we're going to determine what's pagan in origin and what's not. It's very similar to copyright laws. Now you might say, what in the world are you talking about? Copyright laws? In American copyright laws, you can't just copyright something that's generic. For instance, you cannot copyright the title, The Songbird, because The Songbird is too generic of a title. It has to be very specific towards a company, title, or a product. It has to be very specific, okay? This is why Christmas and Easter are definitely pagan, because they were very specific pagan dates by the Roman pagans towards their pagan gods with specific details that outline those festivals. And when the Roman Christians came along, they borrowed those, say syncretized them, and they threw a little holy water on them and took every element of those holidays and simply Christianized them. They simply took the pagan components of those traditions and Christian.
Right, and if y'all watch Priest class, this is what Priest was talking about when Paul, during Paul's letters, right? You would bring something that's outside and try to synchronize it with the Holy Scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And you, just like Easter with Passover, right? And then Christmas with the birth of Christ, right? They try to put that stuff together and it doesn't fit. It's nowhere near the same thing, right? They hide the meaning. They try to put our meaning on the surface and then hide the real meaning underneath, right? And they make it appealing mainly unto children, right? That's who it's really for. Because when you think about it, with Easter, they try to promote these Easter egg hunts. You know what I'm saying? With the 4th of July, they do what? Promote fireworks. Those ain't excited at no dang on fireworks. Who cares? Right? Halloween, they promoting candy to the children, or you get to dress up, have fun, run around, right? And then that night, the adults get to do all the wickedness. Then you got Thanksgiving. That's, I wouldn't necessarily say that they try to promote that type of stuff to children, but definitely Christmas. Look at the gifts, the gift giving alone. It's about giving toys. It's about loving on your children, loving on your loved ones, so on and so forth. They try to promote these things, right? So all of this stuff is wicked. It's paganism.
Them, but they kept the pagan traditions. And again, I encourage you to watch December 25th on Trial, or even Truth or Tradition, which will really shock you and rock your world. But it's my belief that Thanksgiving is different. Although there's pagans that had days of Thanksgiving for thousands of years, that doesn't make it pagan in origin or forbidden by God to celebrate it. Why? Because it's too generic. Think of the ramifications. Because pagans have a Thanksgiving day to their God, we're saying Christians can't give thanks to their God because pagans did? No, just like a trademark has to be specific, so the holiday must be specific. And Thanksgiving is not. It's generic in every way. That's why I said every culture, every language, every tribe and tongue had a Thanksgiving day. It's just generic. Think about this. If we're going to take the definition of paganism and say just because the pagans invented it, we can't do it or use it or celebrate it as Christians, we're in actually big trouble, because wedding rings were actually founded by pagans.
I'm gonna get rid of this, y'all. Let me fast forward real quick, because He mentioned something towards the end of this video.
Muddy part that we're celebrating, it's the original part that is pure and holy. And although even in 1621 it wasn't perfect, the relationship certainly was worth celebrating, so much so that the Native Americans celebrated with the Pilgrims, and that should say something. Now, I'm certainly not saying that paganism hasn't somehow crept into Thanksgiving, because it absolutely has. The cornucopia finds its origin all the way back in Greek mythology with Zeus. The legend says that Zeus accidentally broke off one of the horns of his wet nurse, but he turns it into a cornucopia as an I'm so sorry. He promises its perpetual overflow with her favorite fruits. And then somehow that cornucopia eventually morphs into modern day Christianity and finds its way into Thanksgiving, likely because Thanksgiving has to do with a harvest and an overflow in abundance. So you can decide whether or not you want to have a cornucopia this Thanksgiving, but I wouldn't recommend it just because it's...
All right, so I just wanted him to point out that. Let me stop. Let me go back. Right, so we're going right back. Let me mute that screen first. Michael Aller, you're going to mute. Right, so we're going right back to Leviticus chapter 18, right? 18 and verse number 1. That's what I want you to start out again. Actually, just read verse number 3.
All right, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances.
Right, so the reason why I took it way back to Egypt, right, because we know that the last thing that the guy mentioned was what? Rome, right, with so-called Zeus, right? But we all know, right, from Rome to Assyria to Babylon to Greece, even to America, right? This is what they bite from, right? They bite it from here and they just take it to a more wicked stage, right? Even what it is, even right now, right? The reason why I'm mentioning the Molech, right? We're going to get into it, right? So now let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter. Actually, let's go to Colossians first. All right. Colossians chapter 2. Then we can go to Leviticus. All right. So Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8.
All right, this is the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
And not after Christ. Right? So if, like because according to him, he says that it's cool for any culture to have a Thanksgiving after they win the war, right? It's a celebration, so on and so forth, right? But if we're talking about a revolutionary war, what the hell does that have to do with Christ? Right? Paul was literally writing this for, of course, people during that time, but men like this that were to come. And our own people that believes in that thing. Right? And they do these things after the tradition of men. Right? So now let's go to the book of Leviticus. Right? Let's go to chapter 20. And start at pick it up at verse 1.
All right, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
Mm-hmm.
And I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given of his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name.
Mm-hmm.
And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man, when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man, and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people.
Right. So this is the judgment, right, for giving your seed to Molech, right? For even during this particular time, even sacrificing, right? Sacrificing your children. We understand that, right? Now, this next video is going to literally show how this Molech is still alive, right? Not necessarily in the physical, or well, in some ways, right? In some ways and in some places than the physical, but more so spiritual level, right? When you start doing all of these different things, you celebrating these different holidays, right? Knowing that they are not ordained by the Most High, right? Knowing that they have pagan roots to them, knowing that they have wicked rituals to these particular days, right? And how they was born and how they was created from these other nations, right? This is no different than you making your son or daughter pass through the fire of Molech, right? Luckily, we have grace for a lot of the things that we committed. Otherwise, we would literally be cut off. This is what the scriptures say about those that give their seed to Molech, right? So, you got anything you want to add before we play this video? Because this video is about 20 minutes. This one, for sure, I want to watch most of it. So,
Okay.
if you want to add anything, you can.
All right, let me get a couple scriptures first. Let me get Exodus 32:9, right? Because playing upon tables, man. No matter how many times we talk about this type of times of these holidays, how wicked it is, how we're not supposed to do it, our people don't care, right? They really don't care. And the reason why they don't care is because it's the fantasy of how we grew up, of knowing that how our families and the adults have showed us the way of how to communicate and how to gather. This is why we do it, because we have turned our back against God way too many times. We still do it, and we think that God is still dealing with us, and not realizing that we learned the way how to gather through the heathens' traditions. We learned how to celebrate Thanksgiving. We learned how to celebrate Christmas. We learned how to celebrate all these holidays because the heathens showed us how to do it, and we doing it for their ritual purposes. But no matter how many times we tell them, the Most High continue to say this. Give me Exodus 32:9.
Okay. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 32 and verse 9. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation.
Right. So understand, man, these holidays that we want to partake in, the Most High is waxed hot against us. That's why we got fighting. That's why we got killing. That's why we got a lot of things that happen on these wicked holidays. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High is waxed hot because we are stiff-necked people. No matter how many times we bring this stuff out, our people are going to say the same excuse. Well, this is the way I gather with my family because I don't see on no other time. The other excuse would be, well, I don't want to let the children down, so that's why I do it. And then you cut yourself by saying, like, yo, I know it's wicked and I know it's pagan, but I'm just doing it for the fun. I don't celebrate it though. I don't celebrate it, but I just do it just to get around the people.
Okay.
Rather if you're there, or rather if you participate, you celebrating it. No matter what. No matter if you can come with me with the same lame excuse, I don't celebrate this thing, I just do this. You're celebrating it. You're no different from the person that started the event, right? So what you said earlier, right? Like my man said that in the video, he was saying that, yeah, we can join these, the religion can go hand in hand with these type of feasts. And he literally said they were pagan, right? So let me get 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we're going to start at verse 14. Because the Most High, when he made the word for all of us, it made it so simple for us to understand when we keep the commandments. It's not hard to keep, and it's not hard to understand when we know that we're supposed to be doing everything from the Lord. Right? So let's see what Paul talks about right here.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 16, starting in verse chapter 6, starting in verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness?
So why would you go and celebrate that with your family?
Mm-hmm.
You know that God is against that. So why would you go against the grain for the Most High to trim your ways to love others? Right? The scriptures even talks about that. Why trimmest thy ways to show love? So you will go out your way just to satisfy family, but say, the hell with you, God. I want to do what I want to do because my family, I'm in this truth 24/7. I need a little break from you. So I just want to at least show my love to them. That's what you're doing.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
And what communion hath light with darkness?
What kind of what kind of gathering that makes good and evil come together? It don't mix. Go ahead.
And what concord hath Christ with Belial?
Right. What kind of gathering is that? Right. What kind of agreement? Right. What kind of agreement do Yahushua and Belial have? Right. Go ahead.
Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?
Right. So and that's the same thing as a non-believer, right? So how can Yahweh's and Yahushua feast days and our feast days concord with these holidays that they celebrate? How can our Passover match Easter? Like, what do a bunny got to do with Yahushua getting us out of Egypt? I mean, Yahweh getting us out of Egypt. What do that got to do with a rabbit? Right? What do that got to do with him dying on a cross? What do that got to do with Yahushua was not even born around that time when he called, what they call it, the Friday? What is the Good Friday?
Okay.
That don't even match with the scriptures. How are you going to put, how are you going to match that up? Right? Then how do you can say Christmas is his birthday? Like, how do you match that up? Like, there's no connection with that, right? Go ahead.
And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
And if God said that we're not supposed to do what these other nations doing, then why are we doing this? And a lot of our people will tell you dead in your face and say that this is a pagan holiday. And it just shows that they don't care. Like, you really just saying like, hey, I don't care if God says we're not supposed to do this. I know that, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's what you're doing. Go ahead.
Wherefore, come out from among them.
He said what?
Wherefore, come out from among them.
So don't even gather with them. Don't feel bad that these days is coming up and they want you to come together. Come from among them. Don't be around them. Don't tempt yourself and say, I know where I'm at. I'm 10 toes in, so I'm not going to fall into the folly. Right? The Most High, not Most High, Paul telling you, come from among them. And what?
And be ye separate.
Find a way to connect with your brother and sister around this time. Right? Go ahead.
Said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing.
Right, so don't even go over there and touch anything that's unclean, because when you go in that person's house and they got all those things going on, everything is unclean. No, everything is unclean.
And I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
Because God's children is the ones that obey. If you don't obey God, you're not his children. You're not acting like his children. You're acting like the heathen. So God doesn't have a connection with the heathen. So the heathen and the Israelites, we have no agreement together. So we have to be mindful of that. We got to take that mindset off and say, hey, it's just the day where I can spend my time with my family. And if you know what Mosai said not to do, then you continue on not doing it. And I learned there.
Okay. Right. So before I get the video, I just want to just go off of the point that you just made. You just talk about them trying to celebrate, right? So read this, Proverbs 24:17. Read that.
All right, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 17. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth.
Right. So we're not supposed to rejoice when our enemy falls, right? So we know that Solomon is the author of Proverbs, right? We know that the kingdom split after Solomon, right? We definitely know that the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom always had beef. There's always fighting, arguing with each other. We see that throughout the prophets. We see that when we get to the New Testament. We see the disciples having a problem, you know what I'm saying, when certain people went and was teaching the quote-unquote Gentiles, right, which was the northern kingdom, right? We seen them, so that would definitely make them our enemy. Why? Because they oppose against God. The Most High gave them a bill of divorce, right? Of course, we know that he eventually gave both of us a bill of divorce, but again, they got theirs first, so they were enemy. But literally, Solomon is giving us sound wisdom here when he says, "Rejoice not when our enemy falleth." What do you think you're doing when you're cutting that damn turkey on Thanksgiving? When you picking it up, even though we know it's just food, right? We know it's food. It's not the turkey that is that's an unclean meat, right? It's the reason for the celebration. We're not supposed to be rejoicing. We're not supposed to be all happy, right? Going around the dang on table talking about what you're thankful for. Not supposed to be doing any of that. That's rejoicing, right? That's rejoicing. So we're not supposed to be doing that. I just wanted to make that quick point.
Okay.
All right, so let me get into this, right? This is going into the Molech. And this is going to just show you how, just in many different ways, that this thing is still active, right? And how, actually, Salakia, I forgot I got to go back and unmute it. We got to learn the StreamYard all over again, yo.
Okay, let me mute mine.
Okay. All right, so here we go.
What if I told you that the most terrifying god in human history never died? That Moloch, the ancient deity once associated with the sacrifice of children in blazing fires, still exists not as a statue in a forgotten temple, but as a living force embedded in the very systems we obey today. Before
And Salakia, let me pause it right there at that point. Just had my guy, you can unmute real quick. I'm gonna pause it at that point. I'm gonna go right back into the video, right? So I just want to point out something that he just said, right? So let's go into the scriptures, right? Because he talked about that idol, or he said the word God, right? Standing in the temple, or not standing in the temples no more. Let's see something. Let's go to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 23, and let's pick that up at verse 10. Actually, pick it up at, yeah, you can read verse 10. That's cool.
All right, this is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 23 and verse 10. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech.
All right, so this is going into, when you go back to the previous chapter, you see Josiah is ruling, right? And we all know that Josiah, he got rid of all of the idols, right? Right, he got rid of all of the idols, the groves. He got rid of all of these things, right? And this is what it's saying that he was doing, right? He got rid of this too, right? He got rid of the Molech, right? Because he says, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom. This is where, again, not only just the Israelites, but the Ammonites, the Phoenicians, the Ammonites. This is where they would take their children, right, to go pass through the fire and literally sacrificing them, right, putting them in, you might as well call it a huge oven, right? And we're going to go into who actually made this, right? Who actually made one of these things. But before we get there, let's go into this. Sluggy. All right, here we go, y'all.
This is myth or conspiracy. Listen carefully. This isn't about superstition. This is about pattern recognition. This is about power. This is about you. In nearly every civilization that rose and fell, there was a god who demanded something precious in return for control. Victory or prosperity. Moloch was one of the oldest and most brutal among them. Worshipped in secret rites and public rituals, he symbolized the horrifying trade-off sacrifice, what is most sacred in exchange for worldly gain. And though the fire pits of the past are long extinguished, Moloch's hunger has only evolved. Today, you won't find him in temples of stone. You'll find him in boardrooms.
If you're a producer who hates AI, this plugin might change your mind. This is Reimagining CoProducer. You can take any sample,
algorithms, and the hidden architecture of the systems we live in. Every time we sacrifice truth for comfort, children for productivity, humanity for efficiency, we invoke Moloch. And here's the shocking part.
That you sacrifice when you're keeping these holidays, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas. We know them. We're not going to name all of them, right? When you're keeping these things and doing these things, you're sacrificing truth for comfort, right? It will make you, quote unquote, like especially in the beginning of your walk, it makes you uncomfortable to go around your family knowing that your family is talking about you like a dog. But you love them. You love them so much that you want to give them the truth. But now, since they talk about you, you stop giving it to them. You might even succumb to start celebrating back these holidays, right? And try to keep the law, statutes, and commandments in secret, right? Every single time that we don't obey the Most High, right, we're sacrificing truth for comfort, right? Let's go.
Most of us are doing it unconsciously daily, without ever realizing that we've become both the worshipers and the sacrifice. The elites. They know this archetype well. In fact, many of them build their empires around it. But this isn't about some secret cult behind closed doors. This is about a psycho-spiritual mechanism, a force that operates through us when we allow fear, greed, and blind ambition to govern our choices. This video is not just an expose. It's a mirror, a wake-up call, a dangerous remembering. You'll see how this ancient god was never a relic of the past, but a living energy that thrives on human disconnection. And most importantly, you'll learn how to recognize its influence in your life and how to stop feeding it. Ready to confront the truth? Then don't blink, because once you see Moloch, you can't unsee him. Moloch. The very name carries an echo of dread, a god whose rituals were whispered in the shadows and etched in ancient scriptures as warnings. But who was Moloch truly? Was he a literal deity, worshipped in blood-soaked ceremonies, or something far more symbolic, a dark embodiment of humanity's own lust for power at any cost? In the ancient world, Moloch was most closely associated with the Canaanites and Phoenicians. Biblical texts mention him as the recipient of child sacrifices in the Valley of Hinnom, where parents would offer their own sons and daughters to appease this insatiable force. Archaeological evidence in places like Carthage has revealed charred remains of infants in burial urns, a chilling hint that these stories were more than just metaphor. But the ritual wasn't merely physical, it was psychological. Sacrificing the future to preserve the present. Giving up innocence to maintain control. Yet Moloch wasn't confined to a single form or region. The name shifted across cultures, sometimes linked with Baal, sometimes with Saturn, sometimes left unnamed. What remained constant, however, was the archetype, a deity that required the ultimate price in exchange for favor. A transaction between fear and ambition. What made Moloch terrifying wasn't just the cruelty of his demands, it was the logic behind them. In a world of scarcity and survival, people believed that only by giving up what they loved most could they secure divine protection. Moloch was not madness. He was
that's madness, right? That's madness, right? Let me just rewind it just about 10 seconds. Just let them repeat that.
trade-offs and brutal efficiency. And herein lies the danger. Because when the logic of Moloch begins to make sense, when the sacrifice of the sacred becomes justified in the name of progress, convenience.
Slakia, y'all didn't do it. I thought it did it.
People believed that only by giving up what they loved most could they secure divine protection.
All right, so giving up your child, this is the only way that you feel like God, right? And in their mind during this time, this is God, right? God is going to protect you by just giving up your children, right? Offer your children to me and I'll protect you, right? We know, this is why it's so important for us to read the scriptures and know the God of the Bible, not the God that the Christian church tell you about, right? Not how our people always love to say, God, why did this 2-year-old baby have to die in the shootout, right? Yes, are those things sad? Yes. But when you understand the God of Israel, you will grow to understand why things happen, right? I'm not saying that should replace any sympathy that you may have or may feel, right? It's not going to replace it, but you'll understand it, right? And it makes it better. You'll be able to explain, hey, these types of things are happening because God's people are not keeping his commandments, right? They're believing by giving their children to these idols that they're serving God. They're believing that Yahweh birthday is December 25th. So we're going to give gifts to our children, right? When in actuality, when he was born, yes, the wise man brought gifts, right? But did everybody get gifts? Did Christ's brother, did he get gifts? Did his cousins get gifts? Right? Did the disciples that wasn't necessarily his disciples yet, right? Did they get gifts? Right? I'm saying all of this so we can make sense out of these holidays, right? But let's keep going.
Moloch was not madness. He was cold strategy, a god of systems trade-offs and brutal efficiency. And herein lies the danger. Because when the logic of Moloch begins to make sense, when the sacrifice of the sacred becomes justified in the name of progress, convenience, or stability, then we are no longer talking about ancient history. We are talking about modern life.
We talk exactly what I'm saying. When you start to become successful, and you're having these huge, well, it could be huge celebrations, right? Or it don't even got to be, because everything ain't monetary, right? You can be rich, just in your family. Your family love you. Y'all always gathering together, so on and so forth. You always had a particular person's houses you wanted to go over on these particular holidays. Like me, myself, for sure, Thanksgiving, I was always with my dad, right? When I was doing it or keeping it. You know what I'm saying? But you just become successful in these type of things and hosting these events and doing these things. And now guess what? You don't even realize that you've just birthed spiritual wickedness, right? And that thing is growing at an enormous rate. And by you doing that, guess what? You're just feeding what we used to know as Molech, right? Not on a physical level, but what? On the spiritual level.
About a force that never vanished, only adapted. To understand Moloch is to understand a recurring pattern in human civilization, one that disguises itself as order, but demands chaos. One that offers success, but asks for your soul in return. To truly understand Moloch, we must strip away the literal and look deeper into the metaphysical architecture of belief itself. Because Moloch was never just a bronze idol with outstretched arms and flames beneath. He is an archetype, a living symbol that transcends time, culture, and religion. A force that emerges wherever humans are faced with a terrible choice: sacrifice the sacred or lose control.
Right. So what do you think are the entertainers of our time do? Right. This is why about 60-70% of them be on drugs, because they can't take the type of things that they have to endure or go through, right, in order to remain successful. Right. They can't take it. So they trade their souls, just like you just said, until we always just call it, are you selling your soul, right? You selling out, right? Until what? Right now we can put a name on it, right? The Molech. You're selling your soul out to the Molech, right? Let's keep rolling, y'all.
Esoteric traditions and depth psychology archetypes are not myths in the way modern people assume. They are primal patterns embedded in the human psyche, like ancient rivers that shape our thoughts, our societies, even our destinies. Moloch is one of these rivers. He is the archetype of blind sacrifice in the name of the greater good. The part of us that says it's okay to burn the child if it means the city survives. This force does not require belief to function. You don't have to bow to Moloch or chant his name. You only have to obey the logic he represents. That what is most human in you, your intuition, your softness, your playfulness, your connection can and should be traded for productivity, efficiency, or control. Modern thinkers have sensed this pattern too. In his essay, Meditations on Moloch, Scott Alexander describes Moloch not as a god, but as a self-reinforcing system, a race to the bottom, where every individual is trapped in a game they can't escape.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is base.
Where even if no one wants to serve Moloch, they do it anyway, because the system rewards sacrifice, not wisdom. Moloch then is not behind us. He is within us. He appears.
And how does he reward that? Right? Sometimes it's in the form of money, right? Like we stated. Sometimes it's in the form of you becoming the favorite aunt or uncle or mom's house or dad's house that they want to come to and celebrating these holidays, right? You're receiving quote unquote love, which is really fake love, because it's not the love. We know what love is according to the Bible. That's not the love that you're receiving, right? So now you become the one that everybody, they travel to you to celebrate these wicked holidays, right? And you love opening up your home to do so. This is what you become, right? By keeping these days, right? By you being the sacrifice unto Molech. You're not necessarily dying right then and there, but we know what, according to Romans, that the wages of sin is death, right? So you keep piling it up, right? Keep on piling it up, and that's what's going to happen to you, right? You want to.
There's in the moment a parent chooses the screen.
You want to become a sacrifice, right? The Most High is really going to, burn you, right? Let me go back a couple seconds.
Is within us. He appears in the moment a parent chooses the screen over storytelling. the prophet over people, the algorithm over art. And most dangerously, he disguises himself as necessity, as progress, as pragmatism. But naming the archetype is the first step in breaking its spell. Because what is unconscious controls you until you see it. And once you see it, the game begins to change. We haven't just inherited a myth, we've inherited a decision. And that decision is still being made every single day. You might think Moloch was left behind in ancient temples and forbidden rites. But he's not gone. He's simply evolved. He no longer demands fire. He demands your future. He doesn't ask you to kneel before an altar. He asks you to compromise, to optimize, to sacrifice without even realizing it. Today, Moloch hides in plain sight, operating through the very structures we depend on. Education, economics, technology, media, medicine, even parenting. Let's start with education. In theory, it's meant to nurture growth, but in practice, it's often a conveyor belt of standardization, preparing children not for creativity or consciousness, but for compliance. The spirit of play is sacrificed for test scores. The curiosity of the child is replaced with the anxiety of performance. We're no longer raising thinkers. We're producing data points. And Moloch smiles. In the corporate world, the logic is even more.
Those scriptures literally tells us to raise up our children. Right? When we just, and a lot of us, I'm not going to say all of us, right? A lot of us are known for just sticking the phone in our kids' hands, sticking a tablet in their hands without ever talking to them, right, about the Sabbath day, right, what it is you're supposed to be doing, right? Why are we gathering on the Sabbath day? Why do I have fringes on your clothes, right? We don't talk to our kids about this. We just kind of make them do it. And then we give them a tablet, tell them run off, go play while we go have Bible study, right? Now, true enough, we can set aside time, right? Because it's a time and place for everything, right? But are we actually doing that? That's the question that we all need to ask ourselves. Is this what we're doing, right? Are we talking to them, whether they can read or not, right? Are we, even if they can't read, you can still talk to them about the truth, right? Why? Because the children have very great memories. They'll tell you that you said something like it could have been months ago, and it'd have been, but you said we was going such and such, right? So it's no excuse not to even have a conversation, right? So we always got to figure out these things and literally teach our children so that they don't just become a data point, right?
I'm at the windows.
Yeah, I got you. You good?
I want to get what you were just speaking about. You know what? No, just continue to go with your video. I'm gonna hold everything when I got back. So just go. I want to.
Okay, cool.
Or brutal. People trade their health, their time, their family bonds for the illusion of security or advancement. Work-life balance becomes a joke. Hustle culture is glorified burnout normalized and rest demonized. Entire industries exist to extract as much as possible from the human being, as if the soul were just another resource to mine. This isn't just capitalism, it's a cult of productivity. And Moloch drinks deeply, even in digital life.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Moloch is fed every time we choose the algorithm over authenticity. Social media thrives on outrage, division, and comparison. We sacrifice presence for validation, depth for dopamine. Every scroll, every like, every unconscious interaction is a tiny offering. Not because we want to, but because we're caught in a system that rewards reaction over reflection. the scariest part.
And how are we caught up in that when it comes down to social media? That's the first thing people do is react. Let something kind of crazy happen, right? And people gonna make jokes about it. Right? All for the love of clicks and likes. Right? And you can monetize off these things. Right? So when you see people just constantly, like it's a bunch of people that are so-called influencers, right? YouTube influencers, Instagram, this and TikTok that. They do all of these things on there, and they're spending all of their time trying to make money, and you're not even raising your family. Right? Let's keep rolling.
None of this is being forced upon us. There are no chains, no whips, just incentives. Systems so cleverly designed that we don't realize what we're giving up until it's too late. This is the genius and the horror of Moloch. In the modern age, he doesn't need to demand your child. He'll settle for your attention, your time, your soul in fragments, and still we call it normal life. It might sound far-fetched, the idea that modern elites still worship an ancient god like Moloch. Surely in the age of science, satellites, and global finance, we've left behind primitive deities and blood-soaked altars. Haven't we? But perhaps that assumption is naive. Because what if the most dangerous worship is the one that doesn't look like worship at all? Let's be clear.
That actually is that's like when I checked this video out, that was the most stellar point, right? The worst worship is literally the one that doesn't even look like it, which is exactly what Thanksgiving is, which is exactly what Christmas is, which is exactly what New Year's and all of these other different holidays that don't line up with the scriptures. That's what that is. It don't look like worship when you handing your child a gift, right? Or they down up underneath a Christmas tree. It doesn't look like worship to you. Why? Because you're having a good time, right? It don't look like worship when you running around with other children finding eggs in people's backyards, or if you got church inside the church, right? It don't look like worship. It just looks like fun. That's the perfect way to hide it. This is why we always say that a lot of these different things, they're after your children. And us being adults, we want our children to have good times. We want to put smiles on our children's faces. So we just partake in these things, not knowing the wickedness that's rooted behind it, which is why I'm literally playing and talking about Molech, because Molech is in your Thanksgiving. He's in anything that you do that opposes to God, right? Like I said in the video, it's not literal burning of fire anymore. It's not literal, right? Now it's spiritual, right? Now it's mental. All right, let's keep going. We only got about 9 more minutes, y'all.
This isn't about hooded figures chanting in the woods, though such rituals exist, and some of the world's most powerful people have been linked to them. The infamous gatherings at Bohemian Grove, for instance, have long drawn accusations of Moloch worship, even displaying a giant stone owl, eerily reminiscent of the god's symbolic form. But what's far more concerning than symbolic theater is the ideology behind it. The worldview that says sacrifice is justified for control and power must be preserved at any cost. Why do the elites gravitate toward this archetype? Because Moloch offers results. He rewards those willing to play his brutal game. He blesses systems that favor profit over people, secrets over truth, and hierarchy over humanity. The deeper the sacrifice, the stronger the reward. That's the ancient logic, and it still holds today. Whether it's a billion-dollar corporation laying off thousands to boost stock prices, or governments waging wars that destroy lives to maintain influence, the pattern is unmistakable. Sacrifice the innocent, protect the system. But it goes deeper.
And this is why you will have hold on, Salaki, this thing. Let me let
For many,
this is why you will have certain people be put to death, right? You had a brother, right, that made an engine that could run off water, right? And you think once they got wind of that, they're like, nah, we got this brother got to go, right? He the only one that know how to do it. Now he got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? When you make probably a certain cure for certain things, right? They're gonna get you up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it goes against what they directly trying to do. They're gonna get you up out of there every single time. Right? Whether it's on a literal level or they just gonna tarnish your name. Right? They're gonna make something up that say you did something.
power, it's not just strategic, it's spiritual. Esoteric circles among the elite understand that symbols, rituals, and archetypes carry real energy. They know that what you worship, consciously or unconsciously, shapes your reality. And so they align themselves with the energy of domination consumption and fear the very essence of Moloch. Not because they're evil caricatures, but because this force works. It grants control, influence, protection at a cost. This is not a theory. It is a pattern repeated across empires, epochs, and institutions. The faces change, the costumes evolve, but the god, the force, remains the same. And the more you look, the more you see Moloch isn't just tolerated by the elite. He is their king. It's easy, even comforting, to imagine Moloch as a monster worshipped only by the elite. But that's a dangerous illusion. The truth is far more unsettling. Moloch thrives in your life too. Not because you believe in him, but because you participate in the systems he inhabits. You feed him every time you sacrifice the sacred in yourself, not in fire, but in forgetfulness. Think of how you start your day. Do you wake with stillness, intention, and presence? Or do you reach for a screen, feed your mind to the algorithm, and offer your first thoughts to digital noise? That's not neutral. That's ritual. Every unconscious act is a kind of offering. And in the modern world, the gods don't ask for blood. They ask for attention. Now think about how you treat your body. How often do you push it past exhaustion, ignore its signals, override its wisdom just to meet another deadline, or prove your worth in a system that doesn't even know your name?
And this is why this is the exact reason why I teach my children, hey, don't kill yourself for no job. Don't do it. I would rather you quit, struggle for a little bit, right, than to let these people just break you down to the point where you can barely do anything. Now you're getting sick, because when you overexalt your body, right, it weakens your immune system, and now you're susceptible to anything that they're spraying in the air. And you're wondering, hey, why am I getting sick? It ain't just from the foods that you're eating. It's from the foods that you're eating, the lack of rest, right? Lack of rest is a huge reason why people get sick. And it ain't always a internal sickness, right? Something that's with your, like congestion. It's not always congestion. It could be stress, right? It could be high blood pressure, hypertension. All of these things happen when your body is overworking itself, right? So this is why we need the proper rest. This is why the Most High gave us a day of rest to begin with, because he know that, hey, some of my people going to be working hard. Some of them going to work too hard.
This too is a sacrifice. Not dramatic, not violent, just consistent, slow, draining. Moloch is fed by these micro choices. Every time you trade your inner child for productivity, your dreams for stability, your values for convenience. He wins, and the trap is this. The system makes it feel normal, even noble. You're praised for being efficient, for being busy, for being available at all hours.
Hey, man, we love you. Hey, man, hey, that brother Dorian always coming in for overtime, right? He coming, he don't complain about nothing, right? You praise. Tell them fools no one time. Oh, he lazy. Oh, we might have to hire somebody else. That's what starts to happen, right? They start to talk about you.
But behind the applause is a God who grows stronger every time you forget what truly matters. You may not burn children at an altar, but you burn your own potential, your connection, your awareness.
Parts cars are new, our gift to you, out with the old, in with the gold.
And for what? A system that never loves you back. That is the genius of Moloch, to make you sacrifice willingly without ever calling it sacrifice. But once you begin to see this pattern, the spell begins to crack. You realize you are not a victim and you are not innocent. But you are powerful because you still have a choice.
And notice what he said, right? When you start to recognize it, right, the system starts to crack. So now when brothers is going out to these highways and byways, telling people who they truly are, right? Now their YouTube channels is getting cut down, right? Some of them been taken to jail, right? Still not stopping. So we already know what's to come eventually. More of us is going to be taken to jail. Some of us even put to death, right? Why? Because you're starting to awaken into all of the BS that they got going on. So now you're no longer in the stores buying Thanksgiving food, right? Sales are starting to decline. You're not in the stores spending your last rent money on Christmas gifts, right? Business is going to start to decline. So this is why they don't want us to wake up our other people that are still lost in the system, right? It's nothing but the exact system that's being described right before our very eyes in this moment, y'all.
You can stop feeding the machine. You can reclaim what you've given away. You can break the loop. But first, you must see it. Now that you've seen Moloch, not just in myth, but in motion, the question becomes, how do you escape him? How do you break free from a god you didn't even know you were serving? The first step is awareness. Moloch thrives in the unconscious. He feeds on your disconnection from self, from soul, from silence. Simply seeing the pattern already begins to weaken it, naming the sacrifice for what it is not. Success, not pragmatism, but spiritual abandonment, is an act of rebellion. And in today's world, clarity is resistance, but awareness alone isn't enough. You have to realign, not with fear, but with something higher.
You got to realign with the Most High. That's what we got to do, right? Awareness ain't enough. Saying, hey, I believe in you, God, as our folks in Christianity say, it's not enough, right? Faith without works is dead.
The ancient mystery schools, the way out of dark archetypes, was never to fight them directly, that only feeds them. The way out was to reorient your life towards sacred order, towards Sophia Logos, or divine wisdom, toward the soul's natural rhythm, toward a life that doesn't demand you burn yourself to be worthy. This doesn't mean abandoning the world. It means refusing to serve its false gods. It means asking different questions. Instead of how can I win, ask what must I protect. Instead of how can I get more, ask what can I preserve that is sacred. It's about learning to sacrifice for the soul, not to the machine. This might look like creating rather than consuming. slowing down when the world tells you to speed up, protecting your time, your children, your values, even if the system punishes you for it. Moloch cannot survive in a culture where humans remember their divinity, where the child is sacred and the soul is honored above the algorithm. You don't have to overthrow the system to break the spell. You simply have to stop obeying its unconscious logic. One small act of intention disrupts the chain. One refusal to sacrifice your depth becomes a seed, a new order waiting to grow. The gods of fear only rule the world when we forget who we are. And you, if you're still watching this, are someone who remembers. So now we arrive at the end.
All right, that's it. That's it, right? We can end video with that. All right, you wanted to add something?
I got a few.
Okay.
I got a few, but if you got more scriptures, man, I'll fall behind.
Yeah, I got a couple more.
All right, go ahead, bring them out, and I'll go at the tail end of it. Well, you know what? If you want me to get the last one, go ahead.
No, I can go ahead. I can get these real quick. So I want to just grab. I want to grab Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 32. Or you can pick it up at verse 30.
All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32 and verse 30. For the children of Israel and the children of Judah have only done evil before me from their youth. For the children of Israel have only provoked me to anger, but the work of their hands, says the Lord. For this city have been to me as a provocation of my anger and of my fury from the day that they built it, even unto this day, that I should remove it before my face.
All right, which is why we're in America, right? Go ahead.
Because of all evil of the children of Israel and of the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their prince, their priests, and their prophets, and the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
All right, so it's all of Israel, right? We pissed the Most High off, right? Keep going.
And they have turned unto me the back, and not the face. Though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, yet they have not hearkened to receive instruction.
Mm-hmm.
But they set their abomination in the house, which is called by my name, to defile it.
Mm-hmm.
And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin.
See that? So all of it, like it says, our kings, their princes, their priests, their prophets, right? They did this. They sacrificed unto Molech, right? Let's see, one of the wisest man, right? Outside of Yahushua to walk this earth, right? Let's see what he did. Because it says their kings did it, right, y'all? That's what it said. So let's go to 1 Kings, chapter 11. And we're going to pick it up, verse 6.
All right, this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father.
Go ahead.
Then did Solomon build an high place of Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, and the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech.
And for who?
And for Molech.
Go ahead.
The abomination of the children of Ammon.
All right. So Solomon built the high place, right? A place. When you look up this word, let's look it up real quick. All right. A high place, right? All right. It just says high place, ridge, height, Bama, right? High place, mountain, high places, battlefields, high places as places of worship. This is what Solomon built. Right? He built this. So when Jeremiah says what he says, he wasn't lying to you. Did I probably didn't go back properly. Okay, come. So exactly what exactly what Jeremiah said is the truth. Right? Go ahead, verse 8.
And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods.
Right? He did the same things for his strange wives. Right? Go ahead.
And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord Yahweh of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and not commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord commanded.
All right, so even Solomon didn't keep that, right? So we have to understand why these things was even around. Like, again, it was around before Solomon, right? It was around after Solomon, which is why kings had to continuously tear down these high places, these idols, right? This is why Josiah, when we just read it before the video, he tore down that valley, right? Destroyed it, right? But just like I said in the video, although those places are long forgotten, right, that the energy from it still stands, right? It's not somebody that's just going to make you, they don't make you do nothing, but you just do it willingly, right, for the sake of gain, right? Last one I'm going to get is Isaiah, or second to last. Sluggy. So Isaiah chapter 1, verse 16, and then you can get yours there.
All right, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 16. Wash you, make you clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Learn to do well. Speak judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Lead for the widow.
All right, go ahead down to verse 18 and 19.
Come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
Right, you can be forgiven. You just got to clean yourself up. Repent. All right, go ahead.
If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land.
That's the only way you can do it. You can't do it serving two masters. Right? You can't do it. But you can go ahead, King.
All right, now I'm going to go back a little bit what you were speaking about. Like you said, going home, right? You should be raising your children, right? The scriptures got that in the law, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 6 real quick. Deuteronomy 11. Deuteronomy 11, and I want 19, right? Because first and foremost, right? Before we even get to that, right? When we come in this truth, we supposed to be, as parents, to know how to do better and teach better to our young ones. So I never put Molech in a situation about what these holidays is. I always consider it as witchcraft. You got your music playing. Almost every holiday got a music chime to it to make you go ahead and what they call it, the Christmas spirit, Thanksgiving spirit, and jump into Black Friday, so on and so on. You know, they always got these musics to keep us connected, and they got the festivities around you when you go to the stores to make you always remind yourself what time of season we are in. Right? This is all based on witchcraft, right? So as a repentant Israelite, this is what we're supposed to be doing with your children, right? Especially around this time. Because when they are in these public schools, this is like the rough and the worst time for your child to be around. The teachers are pushing it. The children around them is talking about it. They're doing assignments. You got to be, as a parent, to go ahead and talk to the teacher and say, hey, can you make another different kind of assignment for my child so they don't get, to participate in this situation, because you got to be real with these teachers if you really about teaching your children the right way. If you don't tell another adult, which is watching your children, which we should get ourselves out of, and teaching them, allowing them to teach them their wickedness and traditions, guess what we're doing right here? We're also allowing the Molech to be a part of our children's lives. We're sacrificing our time for our children to be given to the Molech, right? Spiritually, because we're allowing witchcrafters to go ahead and twist the children's mind. Read verse 19 real quick.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, and verse number 19. And ye shall teach them your children.
You should teach who?
Them your children.
You're supposed to teach your children, right? Not just give them a tablet, not just give them a laptop, not give them a gaming controller all day long. Go ahead.
Speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house.
When you in your house, right? Open up the Bible. Have a little Bible study with your children. Understand, young children. I got young children and one older child. Understand their attention span is very short. But let me tell you about that, though. They still, for some way and some reason, the spirit still connects well, long as you constantly embedded in their mind. No matter if they jumping and laughing and twisting and all that, but when you come back with a question and ask them something, one day they're gonna catch it. As long as you keep repeating it, they're gonna finally mentally catch it. Because children is the fastest learners than the adults. Rather, if they playing and got their attention span short, they learn faster and pick up a language faster than an adult. Right? Go ahead.
Speaking of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou
lie down, you want to go ahead and say your prayers with the children, right?
And when thou rises up,
you also want to get them up and so pray to the Most High and give them glory, right? All right.
And thou shalt write them upon the door post of thine house and upon thy gates.
And that's the commandments, right? Give them the commandments and laws, right? Teach them that, right? So now, also, I want to go in here. Let me get Matthew 18. Let me get Matthew 18 and 6.
All right. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 18, starting at verse 6. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea.
That's deep trouble, right? If you're not going to teach your child the correct way and let them know about the law, statutes, and commandments, and let them know about the truth about what's going on in today's society around this season, you offending the little ones. You are offending these little ones because you don't want to take the time and feel like they're going to ask me about 100 questions, so I don't even want to ask them that. I'm going to wait till they get a little bit older. By the time you do that, the world already got them. By the time you wait and explain what's going on, the world has already taken over. You have offended these little ones, right? Give me Ephesians chapter 6 and 4 real quick. Because as parents, we already been here before. So now, since we know better, we got to do better. Verse 4.
It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse number 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord.
Right. So the correction of the Lord, right? So you don't provoking your child to wrath, right? Not telling them when they ask you a question, what is this Thanksgiving's about? What is this Christmas about? What is this Thanksgiving about? And then they get older and then they find out the truth from someone else, and you as the parent should have been teaching them. They may get mad. How come you didn't tell me that? I was busy at school playing with Bobby, and we was changing Christmas gifts on the low key. You know what I'm saying? Like, we, as parents, it's a law to do that. In Deuteronomy 11, we have to sit down and talk to our children. Because if we don't do it, little Bobby, little Jimmy, little Ricky, all of them are going to do that for you. Miss Benson, Miss Johnson is going to do it for you. So you have to be the adult. While this time is happening, you got to act like an adult and not no scared adult, afraid that they're going to be upset of you because you're teaching your child to be doing the Most High's work and you allowing them to molest your child. You're putting your child through the molest by doing that, right? Let me get a couple more and I'm going to let it go. Let me get Colossians chapter 3 and verse 8.
All right.
Right? We know better now, so we got to do better, right?
Okay. It's the book of Colossians chapter 3 and verse number 8. But now ye also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth.
Filthy communication out of your mouth. That's when you come in this, like before you come in this truth, you were raised. A lot of us was raised on these wicked holidays. When they forced you or they explained to you and showed you and they talked about it, what do you want for Christmas? Let's make a Christmas list. Santa's going to come down the chimney. He's leave out the milk and leave out the cookies for him. That's filthy communication. You're lying to your child, saying there's a red white man is coming to save the day for the whole world, for you little ones, and give everybody's children. And they're making the mockery of God, saying he knows when you awake and he knows when you're good and bad, because we know the Bible says God is omnipresent. God knows everything was going on. So we're worshiping something that we have no idea, and that saying is fake, right? Read verse 9.
Lie not one to another.
That's what we do. When you having your child and you want to feel sorry for not allowing them to celebrate, you're lying to your child. The Bible says lie not to one another. That's a lie when you say Christmas is real. It's a lie when you don't tell them the truth about Thanksgiving. Rather, if you don't understand the truth about Thanksgiving, it's your fault because you never did the research. It's your fault no matter what, how you dig it up. It's your fault. Lie not one to another. Go ahead.
Seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds.
Right. When you come in this truth, you tell the children of the real truth. If your child even asks you, did you used to celebrate these holidays? You should speak the truth and tell them, yes, I did. Why? And because my parents didn't know. So now, therefore, since I know better, I'm going to treat you and teach you to do better. So you got a better head start than me in life than I ever did when I was growing up. You got to encourage your child and let them know that you are the first generation to start the movement. You are that first movement to go ahead and never sacrifice to idols. You had that opportunity. Take that with a badge of honor. That's what I tell my children. Take it as a badge of honor because you are the first to do it better than me and your mom ever did. Put that confidence in them because around this time, they're looking around, they seeing all the good things that these other nations are doing that they think is good. And then you see them, you look right in their eyes and they're looking at it like, man, I want to be a part of that. And you got to read your child. You got to teach them and make sure they understand that's the way. Because when we did the old man was teaching them. But when you when you get rid of that old man, now you're teaching God's law, statutes, commandments, what he's talking about in Deuteronomy 11, right? Put on verse 10.
And have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him.
Right. That's what it is. Now we got the new understanding. We're not stupid and dead people anymore. Right? We're more courageous now for the Most High. Right? We're more bold for the Most High. Now we can stand up to the wicked and tell them, you're not going to teach my children about Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween. You're not going to do that. I don't care what the system is rigged for. You're not going to do that because now we have the power and the understanding to remove our children away from this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the resources at one period of time. But now when we in this truth, we got the power to remove our children from this wickedness. You don't have your child volunteer and drawing and coloring turkeys around this time because next week is about to be hell for them. They about to be giving up the assignments with a turkey and drawing and making little cutoffs and putting turkeys over their head. For real. And then what they're gonna do? They're gonna wait to the lunchroom. When we go to lunch, we're gonna give y'all Thanksgiving dinner. We're gonna give y'all Thanksgiving lunch. We're gonna give y'all that. And we're gonna tell you, rather if it's just food, right? It's just food though. But what they're gonna do in the spirit in their mind, this is how we all come together and celebrate Thanksgiving, rather if it's not that day. They're slick. You gotta watch out for that.
Okay.
Right? In my last scripture, man, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 20. And I'm gonna land with that one.
All right, it's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 20. For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Yahweh in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
That's where we at now. See, like the brother said earlier, we would have done that before Yahushua returned. Death. Simple. If you wouldn't told your child that these were wicked holidays and you didn't want to take the time to explain and you just allowed them to watch it on YouTube and you allowed them to do it at school and you don't talk to the teachers, you sacrificed your child to the Molech. You gave them away that easy because you don't want to take the time to save your children like Yahushua saved you. So guess what? Now, since we are understanding of people of understanding, we understand that without Yahushua, we're bought with a price, right? That's something that you can't trade in, you can't buy, something that you can't invest in. It's well invested. Yahushua did it all. Now, by him dying, we are bought with the price through grace now.
Okay.
Now, guess what? Therefore, glorify Yahweh in your body. Right now, we can remove this wickedness in our mind. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. It's no longer in our bodies now. We're not waiting for the chitlins for Christmas. We're not waiting for the ham on Christmas and Thanksgiving. We're not waiting for that day anymore. It's out of our mind. Because why? The Spirit has taken over. And the spirit of the laws of God and Yahweh and Yahushua has moved us. And we have now came into this truth. This is why we are here. So at the end of the day, remove your child. Like that's a really big thing. That Molech, I never looked at it as the Molech. I always look at it this was a time of witchcraft, which it still is. But the Molech and witchcraft, you can't tell them no different. You're still giving them up to another deity. And I land there.
Well said, right? And we're gonna end it off with the perfect scripture to the one you just brought up, right? So right here, verse 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, we're gonna start at verse 13.
All right, this is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 13. But we are bound to give thanks always to Yahweh for you. Brethren, beloved of the Lord, because Yahweh have from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth.
Right. So this is Thanksgiving, right? This is what we give thanks for, right? You can do. Am I gonna sit here and say, hey, you don't find Thanksgiving in anybody? It's not Thanksgiving as far as eating turkey and ham and all of that crap, right? But there's literally a such thing as a Thanksgiving offering.
Okay.
Right? And now, right here, what we're reading in Thessalonians, right? We are supposed to give thanks because why? He's chosen us through salvation, right? Through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth of the law, statutes, and commandments that he gave unto Israel. And through the grace through Yahushua. This is what we give thanks for. Right? It's not sitting around your dining room table around some ham and sweet potato pies, right? Dressing in cranberry sauce. That's you ain't giving thanks around that. Right? It's when we come together on the Sabbath. Because when we come together on Passover, we giving thanks for the grace that the Most High used Yahweh Shai to extend to us, that we still here and we're able to try to serve the Most High as best we can. Right? Go ahead, verse 14.
Verse 14, whereunto he called you by our gospel to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushua.
Okay, go ahead.
Therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which ye have been taught.
See that? Hold the traditions that we have been taught. It's not talking about Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. It's literally talking about the law, statutes, and commandments. Because this is what Paul was even brought up in that, right? He didn't have the understanding of Christ per se until it was given to him. But at the end of the day, he was brought up in that. So he's saying hold the traditions that we've been taught. Go ahead.
Whether by word or our epistle.
Right. So whether you've actually had the word, right, the law, the Torah, right, or whether you learning it through our epistles. Because all we're doing is just quoting what's in the Old Testament. So we're just bringing it up into modern times. Right? Go ahead.
Now our Lord, Hamashiach Yahushua himself and Yahweh, even our Father, which have loved us, and have given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts and establish you in every good word and work.
Right. So this should be comforting unto us. Right. We should no longer want to give our children over to the Molech, right? Over to any deity other than, and I'm not going to even say that, right? I'm not going to call Yahweh Shai a deity, right? But at the end of the day, you know, just because I believe that term is just kind of watered down, so I won't call him that, you know, but at the end of the day, man, I hope this was definitely edifying to y'all. It was definitely edifying to me when I was done putting it together. And I'm like, man, I never looked at it that way. You know what I'm saying? I never knew you can actually tie the Molech into anything that you're doing. Right? It's not just specific on holidays. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, hey, all praises to the Most High for using me as a vessel to get this message out there. And I hope it was very edifying to the people. Right? So, yeah, with that, that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Y'all can see the ticker at the bottom, right? If y'all want to get in contact with us, best way right now is to email us at loidetroit12@gmail.com. Right. We also have the Lions of Israel website that you can definitely check out to see when the feast days are. Right. You can there's different books and stuff on there. People have businesses. You can definitely look those things up as well. And then even if you wanted to donate, right, you can donate through that website, and then to donate directly to the Detroit camp. Our Cash App is $LOI Detroit. So we definitely appreciate the donations that we've even been receiving. You know, it definitely goes a long way, and you know, to help a lot of people, right? So you can go ahead and get the last word, King.
Well, yeah, good lesson. Definitely edifying. And always look at it like this. When you put your heart and spirit and mind into it, it's always edification. Rather, if you have 500 people online listening in and you touch one, that's all it was meant for.
Wow.
Most High never uses his work in vain for anything. So we know it was edifying no matter what, because it's true and the scriptures based and backed up in the scriptures. You know, so I just want to say again, good lesson. And all praise to the Most High. I definitely learned something about the Molech. And all praise to the Most High.
That's right. All praise to the Most High, man. Well, y'all brothers and sisters, hey, enjoy this Sabbath, this beautiful Sabbath. If you are in any other camp in Detroit or in the area, we do have a bowling event, you know, that, you know, us, a couple other camps, we definitely going to link up and do some bowling after this Sabbath. So if you're in the area, you can definitely hit us up through the email as well. if you want to attend, right? So, but other than that,
one more thing, I forgot the Future Academy thing, right? Definitely want to show that on the ticker on the bottom where it speaks about that, right? And this is where if you want to join LOI, you can definitely join in by sending an email. So you're sending it at joinloi@49gmail.com. It's called the Next Future Leaders Academy. It will start January 4th, 2026. And if you want to enroll, you got to email it at, again, joinloi149@gmail.com or visit the website. Now, if you are in our city or the local city that's in New York or New Jersey or whatever, please mention your name and your email so we understand who you are. Especially right now, like in Detroit, if you got anybody that wants to join the Detroit camp, you got to still deal with the headquarters, which is at what we just gave the email to at joinloi149@gmail.com. And they'll acknowledge you through your email. You do a 4-month course, and you can definitely, if you want to join in, you can go ahead and come to the Passover, and if you want to be admitted in, hey, there we go. We were looking for people, and people want to come in. Hey, we're coming in and trying to get the work in. That's what it's made about. We're not looking for people to come in and just sit around and not do anything. We're looking for people to put the work in. The more work we do, the faster we get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can give people edification through whatever knowledge you have that's taught by the scriptures, and it's all connected with LOI.
Okay. That's right. Many hands make light work.
All right. Shalom. All
right. So shalom, y'all. Shalom, y'all.
We send them prayers up. And then the blessings come down. Yeah. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. What I pray for the most is that you understand. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. And what I pray for the most is that you understand. If you say you're a king, you gotta have the standards. I say that I pray when I don't have the answers. Don't know the way, then prayer has to come in. It's okay to pray and don't ask for nothing. Ready for war, but I pray for peace. Know the book says, don't let your prayers cease. Pray for the strength to pray for enemies. Pray to forget these childhood memories. Put on these size 11s, it's the wrong shoes any day. Cowboys team, man, you're gonna lose anyway. Don't come for me, sorry, I don't got a team. Can't be MLK if I never said I got a dream. I pray to Yahweh that he bless you. I pray that you pass, cause life will test you. I pray on the days that things are stressful. Remember, Israel to God is something special. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. What I pray for the most is that you understand. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. And what I pray for the most is that you understand. Yahweh Shah came so he could feed his people. Solomon prayed that he could lead his people. Wise as he was, he didn't see the evil. I pray for the day Yahweh frees the people. Babylon the Great breaking all walls down. Kanye's song, when it all falls down. I pray every day, that's a part of me, that we all celebrate like classic R&B. Cool in this gang, there's so many speakers. I pray that you learn, we have so many teachers. I pray for the kingdom, cause it needs to come. I pray for Isaiah 14:1. Always be thankful, what my lady said. Don't ask for much, just my daily bread. I pray on the days that things are stressful. Remember, Israel to God is something special. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. What I pray for the most is that you understand. I pray material things never blind me. I pray all this fake love will never find me. I pray I don't have fear for any other man. And what I pray for the most is that you understand. We send the prayers up, and then the blessings come down. Prayer's your weapon, y'all. Make sure you pray every single day. Don't just ask for things, but pray to the Most High to deliver us.